Happy Thanksgiving, Pirates! Welcome back to another episode. So this will be second round boots on the ground trip. As you saw last episode, covered a lot of ground, over 20 plus miles of Iron Mountain, able to eliminate a tremendous amount of search area, kind of eliminate a bunch of solves, learned a lot, got to know where you're staying, got to get that right hotel. Definitely worth the drive. So this episode, we're back at Hampton Inn, got our hot breakfast, got our trail markers marked right correctly, and we're ready to go. Also, tighten your shoes. So if you're going out on these trail hikes, we did 20 plus miles. I got home, I lost almost all my toenails because I didn't tighten my shoes. So make sure you tighten them up there. Today, we're going to just kind of keep it surface level. I'll go through some of our final solves here to cross off Iron Mountain and then stick around for the end. I got a final clue here I think you're going to find pretty interesting. So until next week, I'll see you next week. Enjoy the family, and let's dive in. Welcome back to Google Earth, back at Lake Watauga here today. So just to help get kind of your bearings here, of course, top right-hand side, you have Iron Mountain. The shaded area is what we eliminated last week. Down center to the bottom here, we have the boats, which is kind of where we made our jump. And then this week on this Boots of the Ground trip, we're focused on the first part of Iron Mountain. So looking back at the physical book, you'll see, of course, we have the mountain peaks. Then you have the really cool drain that we found. It was pictured as a crater here in the book. And then I've went ahead and laid out some more additional solves that we'll jump through here, try to make it short and sweet and pre-laid them out, make it easy for you to see and understand. So on this trip, hyper focused on this particular area here. Let me drop down and show you kind of an elevation view of this area. Really cool place. Let me put on some identification markers here so you can see. You have basically this Watauga Dam Visitor Center here down to your bottom left-hand corner. You have a smaller mountain here off the visitor center, and then you have just kind of a mid-size mountain here. Has a really nice hiking trail, about a mile long overall, to just give you an idea on size. So from here, you can scale this thing a million different ways, which I've done, of course. Trust me, I've put a lot of time and energy into this place here. So one of my favorite solves here has us jumping over the lake here from the boats, and the triangle at the end of the trail kind of lands right in here. From there, just based on kind of the relationship here in the physical book, I have the X point landing here at the top of the mountain. So once you're on the mountain here, the boots on the ground is just so valuable, and understanding the terrain, what's possible, what areas can you search in, can you not search in. So you want to be really strategic about going boots on the ground. You want to have enough solves where you feel pretty good, but once you're out there, it's so valuable. So from here, the formatting gets a little tricky. It's hard to get in here and show you all the exact details on what we did. But essentially, we're working with this trail here. Let me get this out of the way. So this trail down here is where we started. We're hiking up the mountain here all the way to a third of the mile, which is a 1727. Not really anywhere to look for the X at this point. Pretty steep on both sides of the trail. So that didn't really pan out to be much. Um, looking at get this out of here, looking at this center point here, when you get up to the peak of this mountain where I made this U-turn, there's basically kind of a rock formation where you can continue on. But if you make a U-turn and head back down the trail, it's not even the trail, you're off the trail at this point, but you head back along the peak here. I really love this solve, probably my favorite. I thought I was onto something for this one. You head back about 100 yards here. So let me get my little handy dandy pin out. We're coming back this way, about 100 yards to this point here. Really thought this one was going to be good, man. Some really good rock formations, great hiding spots. We were at the peak of the mountain, so really good spot here. Terrain was okay. It's pretty flat on top of here. Maybe some, down trees and things from the storm, but nothing like crazy where you couldn't handle it. So unfortunately, that didn't pan out to be anything there. So now zooming back out here, that was our first pretty much run on this peak here. So jumping over to our next solve, we'll move on. So our two best next solves would be, just scaling it differently, having the triangle land in a different location. And if you look at this from an elevation standpoint, you can scale this in many different ways, but looking at kind of let me show you some of these here that we were looking at. So matching up these different areas to the blemishes on the physical map, you can really see how there's a number of different ways to match this up, and exactly where to put the drain, where to put the high point. So we went through them all, really exhausted all options here. So these were our next two solves, basically putting the high point at the bigger mountain here, and then going a third of a mile, or 1727 from there, would have you jumping over the Wilbur Dam Road here and kind of picking up on the Appalachian Trail where we had already kind of did our last boots on the ground trip. So we did come back, search this whole area again to make sure I wasn't right off the beginning of the trail here. Unfortunately, no luck on that one. This second triangle here that I'm looking at, so I'll circle that one for you. So now we're working on this triangle. I went down and covered, this is kind of a valley here, fairly steep, but not too incredibly steep where it's undoable. So I went ahead and explored this entire valley here just to make sure. I came down, explored this whole area, all this whole entire area pretty much I covered, boots on the ground, even jumped the road here, covered that side, started getting into some game cam, like cameras, game trail cameras. So I figured either John's watching me or we're on private property. So that's when I kind of turned around and headed back. So you'll notice these houses over here, this whole area is all private property. You have houses and people living there. So jumping back over to the visitor center area for our final set of solves here, one of our ideas was, when we scaled it, we had the triangle land on or at the visitor center, putting the X on the top of the first mountain. So we did hike this entire area here. Doesn't feel right. It's a pretty worn area, definitely the most used by all the visitors to the lake. Uh, Pretty wide open in here as well. So it doesn't feel like there's a lot of good places to hide a box. So that one actually did not end up panning out there. Also important to note here, over here where it says non-existent, that is a kind of a old hidden AT trail that isn't there any longer. So first boots on the ground trip, I did not see this trail. So when I came back home, saw it on the map, I was super excited, thought maybe there's some kind of hidden trail or something I missed here. But we came to this kind of fork in the trail, nothing that goes this way. So there is a kind of a mountain ridge line there. So maybe in the past there was a trail there, but it hasn't been used in probably at least a decade or so. It's all grown in. It's also very steep areas there, so that did not pan out. We did find, or I did look for that though, in case you're at home wondering why we didn't search that part of the trail. And then jumping back over to the southwest end of the trail here for Iron Mountain, my dad, we did divide and conquer, so my dad found a solve over here, landing the triangle in this area, putting the X somewhere along the shoreline here of the dam. So he did search that entire area. This mountain that this shoreline runs along is very steep, so not a lot of places to go or hide a box here either. I don't think he would put it on a shoreline because these shorelines are just used a lot and they're very worn down in the summertime. You can tell they're used by a lot of people. I don't think John's going to put it in a place where he feels like a random person's going to stumble upon the box, not even a part of the hunt. So again, these, were all great solves, covered a tremendous amount of ground on the final end of the mountain here, but unfortunately, no box. Also important to note here, I'm trying to hit on any questions y'all might be thinking in your head, but again, the entire east side of these mountains are off limits, just too steep to hike. No even worn down trails or game trails or anything like that. So you can eliminate, pretty much this entire side of the mountain here. And these all the way down to the shoreline here is all too steep to even attempt to hike or look for a box. So again, that's the value in boots on the ground. You can really go out there and see what's possible, what's not, and eliminate a lot. You also have the dam area over here. This is all going to be blocked off and barricaded by the state or city or county or whatever, basically considered private property. Not going to be able to get in there and really look around for anything. Full transparency, though, there was a point in time where I got extremely frustrated being out on the trail, probably day two, covered a lot of ground, just worn out. And probably my first and last time that I really got, upset or even angry at John. I was ready to go back and send him some Instagram messages and just really blown away that none of these X's panned out for us. But then, you just got to take accountability. It's not his fault that we're out there. It's been an extremely fun trip. The whole process of going through this and problem solving has just been a lot of fun and extremely rewarding. So I was able to snap myself out of it pretty quick, but just kind of a pro tip there for you. Just understand what you're getting into. You are spending a lot of money, time, energy, but you got to be able to kind of keep that balance and understand really what you're getting out of this hunt. That leaves us with a new eliminated area of the entire first part of Iron Mountain here. So after second boots on the ground trip, we're able to really feel good about eliminating all these areas. And that's what boots on the ground is all about. Lets you open your mind up to new ideas and understand that the thoughts and solves that you have just didn't work out. So I wasn't real sure on when or how to give the final solve here, but I think today is the day. So for all my true pirates out there, the ones that have been following me from the beginning, deep into the details as I am here, this should be a lot of fun for you. I'm going to give you the final clue to how I found the tree in the magnifying glass. So after our second round of boots on the ground trip here, I go back home, I'm studying Google Earth and the map, and I come up with this. So the whole time, the clue that was right in front of us was this island right here in the lake. So meet me back here next week. If you think you find the solve in the meantime, feel free to jump back in the comments here, drop maybe like 100%. Let us know that you're there, and I'll go through the details next week. Should be a lot of fun. In the meantime, enjoy your family and happy Thanksgiving. See you.